This is my panel. I just learned about this like recently, and I didn't know what to be ready for, so I just said, okay. It says a Q&A, so I have the A's, you have the Q's, and I'll open it up to you guys if you want to start.
How was
Spawn, it was a great opportunity, but it was a little rough being in all that makeup and that hot costume. But you know, I'm not complaining now. I did complain then, but yeah, I didn't really have to act so much because I was already in hell. You with Axe Color.
Beowulf, actually.
What's that? Which one are you?
Beowulf.
Oh, Beowulf. Okay.
Yes. When the firefighter was at the biker head off, how much of the effects would you know about or see that you were filming? Did you have to just stand there and like, oh?
You do know that was like a movie, right? Okay. So when you said when.
Like how much visual effects would you see, or did you just have to imagine it, what was going on?
Yeah, I mean, it works like that. Like, you have to just imagine all the stuff, and then they have to draw it in.
Yes, like, would you not see it until the movie actually came out?
Brother, no. You can't see any of that before it was, you know, you cannot, you just have to, that's the imagination thing, right? So I have to imagine that. There's nothing to see. You know what I mean? They have to draw it in later. So it's just kind of like, okay, there's a monster chasing you this way. You gotta imagine it. I wish they could draw a monster and then have me react to it. Then it'd be easier. I mean, but unfortunately they haven't figured out how to do that yet. No. I am really Spawn. I'm playing Michael Jai White right now.
As a very good athletic guy, martial artist, how can you find a way to balance between physical fitness training and your actual martial arts training?
Well, how do I balance between physical fitness training and martial arts training? Well, I mean, I kind of always cross-train anyway. There's no real difference, really, for me. I've always been a bigger guy, you know, without trying, really. People might think I lift a lot of weights. I don't. It's really, I think I lifted weights to be an asset to my martial arts. As in, I will, you know, certain ways I lift, I use weights to enhance speed and accuracy and all that, and strength. But never lift weights to get bigger. In fact, I'm always, you know, trying to condense. So, I mean, I think that answers the question.
Black Dynamite too.
Yeah, but we're talking about a Black Dynamite too. Actually, you know, I mean, I left the director right before I caught the plane here, so we had a long meeting about Black Dynamite too. It might happen sometime sooner than you think. Oh, okay. I'm wondering, wink and smile. Well, I guess so. As the lines from the movies, right? Well, some people might realize that I've worked with Tony Jaa a few times now. Yeah, Tony Jaa to me is one of the best martial artists in the world. And not only is he an amazing physical martial artist, but he's as far as the true sense of what a martial artist is, he to me is one of the most pure martial artists in spirit. He's also a friend and just somebody I regard in the highest, just in the highest level. What's that? Did I meet you yesterday? Yeah, you had that question for me yesterday. If any of my movies ever messed with me on an emotional level, and that I had to take a break, and no, it's the same. You know, that I believe it. There are people who, I guess, actors who they, I guess a little method-like, and they, are distraught after you're shooting, and they're still. I mean, I think maybe that's their method, and maybe they're just crazy. I mean, really, when you think about it, right? If you have multiple personality disorder, or if you're crazy, okay, and you're an architect, well, you need to go get psychiatric help, right? But if you have those conditions and you're an actor, you're brilliant. So people who might have their own pathology, who are actors, who may inhabit the character when they go home and they're struggling with not being able to get out of this character, well, maybe they're just crazy. You know what I mean? That's my feelings. Like, maybe you're a little nuts if you can't separate reality from acting. So you gotta understand, one thing might not just be about acting. Other things may be because you're out of your mind, or you might have some kind of an imbalance. But remember, people with imbalances are, a lot of times, they're amazing actors because they really believe they're whoever they are at that point. You know what I mean? And it's great to watch. Ain't great to live with. So really when it comes down to it, it may be simpler than you may think. But no role I've played stays with me after you yell cut. There may be things, I will give you this. Sometimes with acting, you have to play roles from another person's perspective, right? And so it forces you to think from another perspective that may be different than your own. That can be very beneficial sometimes, and it has been beneficial to me. One time I played a slave, okay? And I basically, I had to drop all what people think would be about slaves, right? I had to really think, okay, I'm a slave in 1830s or something. Well, the slaves of 1800s had it worse than the slaves of the 1830s. They had it worse. Now, in this slave, I actually had to play a slave that was that actually knew who his father was. That's a rarity. That's almost a slave Cosby back then, right? So, instead of looking at it from now, I had to look at it from that perspective, and I had to look at the fact that my whole world consisted of a 5-mile radius, right? And then if that is the case, how beautiful is a plant or a flower? How beautiful is the singing voice? That has to be your everything. How great is the cornbread that you eat that your mother makes? It's gotta be like spagos to you, you know what I mean? So everything, I had to look at life from the perspective of this person who had very little. And then guess what? When I was done with the role, flowers were still beautiful. A a singing voice was still amazing. The fact that I could put on earphones and listen to a whole orchestra, even magnified. I think playing that role enhanced my life a great deal because I appreciated so many things that I did have. I think the same would be if I had to play someone who's paraplegic. It would make you look at life a certain way and make you, I think your life would probably change just having to force yourself to look at it.
Sorry, turn back.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
But I guess I was getting too deep there. Deep for the mic. You have a mic that requires more depth. But if you had to play paraplegic, I would think it would change your life. So in that way, acting can, be a life changer, and it's an amazing teacher because it informs us about people we don't even know. You may think you know what a judge behaves like or a cop or whatever, and most of your opinions are based off of things you saw on movies and television. So, I mean, I wanted to, give you a little bit more of a quality answer than just shutting you down and just saying no. Okay, all right.
Have you ever turned down a role that you wish you hadn't?
No. I've turned down far more roles than I've accepted. That was from some advice from Denzel Washington, who got that advice from Sidney Poitier. Denzel Washington said to me, "Your career is shaped by the things that you reject many times, because there are certain roles if I had accepted, that would be, what I'd be known for in the acting world. So I don't think there's a role that I really rejected that I felt sorry for later. But there's so many roles that I'm so glad I didn't do, or I didn't land that I was going for, and I'm like, oh my God, that would have been terrible. Huh? Oh, there's too many to name.
Top three.
Man, some of these things, that's one of those things you don't walk around with that on your mind, like, oh, I'm glad so-and-so did this and not me. There was some roles I was offered that I was like, that's God awful. I just can't think. I may circle around if I could think of something. There's a lot of them, but I can't think of any right now.
Do you still practice martial arts, and have you tried any new ones?
Yeah, I'm constantly practicing martial arts. I mean, as a martial artist, that's something you don't stop doing. Since I do several styles, there's always a style I'm rusty on, So, I mean, it's just about work ethic. I pretty much try to train 5 days a week. Not at all. I was not a fan of Spawn. I didn't know about Spawn. I actually went to the meeting for Spawn, had no idea what they were talking about. No idea. I had to come back home and ask a buddy of mine. Well, I had mentioned it to a buddy of mine, and he happened to be a big Spawn fan. And I'm like, what is this? What is Spawn? And he explained it to me. And it was like the #1 comic book at the time. So, I mean, I was totally blind to it. Oh yeah, I became a fan. Yeah.
What made you want to take up the role?
What's that?
What made you want to take up the role?
Well, I mean, it was an amazing opportunity. I mean, that's something that I'm not going to pass that up. like to take on, well, there's a number that I'd like to take on, but those are things that I have in development. Other roles that, like a lot of people talk about these franchises or different roles that are out there. I don't really concern myself with those things. It's not like a character that I'm like, oh, I'm dying to play that character. Well, I mean, like, a lot of people mention the Marvel stuff and all that. That's not in my control. Personally, I feel like I'm very much like you, the audience. There's a certain way I would like to see those things cast. That too many times over years that you get your heart broken because you feel that they don't have any common sense. Like you go, well, isn't this person right for that? I researched the character and I like this person for it, but all they're thinking of is, well, this movie that has nothing to do with the superhero movie. This movie did well. They're thinking business. They think, oh, they're just numbers to them. They don't realize that the audience has a point of view and has something invested. And they have their emotion invested too, because these characters are more than just numbers. There's a heart to them. There is a feeling that you want to have with these characters that you believe in. And it's not just because somebody did okay in this movie here, but that's what they do. It's not like back in the 70s, they cared. People who ran studios were movie fans. Now it's a business. So all they're thinking about is the bottom line. I know, people I'd like to see cast, but they, tend to, cast the one who came off of this movie or that movie that really may have no bearing on the ethos of the character I want to see play. Even if it's someone who's not known, at least if they embody the character, I think, I'd be happier about that. As an audience member, as somebody who wants to see those movies as well, my heart's been broken a number of times just as a spectator. I like the movies of the 70s and 80s. I think when they were run by real men, real people, fans of the genre, I think it was much better. Yeah, you have a point there, but they're not, it's kind of like a lot of people who are running things are not, they're not, they don't understand what's going on. They're a little further removed from the hip audience, It's almost, I'm surprised when they get it right. When they understand what the youth want to see. I'm surprised because I think they get it wrong so much.
They're still too shitty to show much feminine behavior. But then you got things like Frozen, which is an actor, and it's the most popular magazine movie.
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure about that. I'm still kind of, on that God movie, action joint type thing. I haven't even seen Frozen. I wouldn't tell my daughter that. I still have homework to do.
Yeah, how you doing? Can we expect more movies from you along the lines of Falcon Rising?
Oh yeah.
I thought that was really good. To me, it was so good. I was surprised it didn't go to the box office. But I mean, can we expect more of that from you?
Yeah, you're gonna expect there's a lot more of that type of movie that I'm doing. See, it's interesting. Theatrical releases nowadays is harder. I mean, you have Brad Pitt and people like major movie stars who their movies open up on Netflix now. The industry has changed a lot. So it's getting. I mean, because the fact that the DVD market got so destroyed by Netflix, so it's different, but you're going to see a lot more of those type of movies from me, and you'll see some theatrical releases as well. Yep.
You said that you have some stuff, some
Yep. No. I feel like this. I so don't want to be the one to mention something and then it forces me to have to talk about it the year and a half it takes to do it all along the way. I'd like to, let you know about things prior to their coming out. I've got Never Back Down 3 coming out. So that's going to be coming out very soon. I'm putting the finishing touches on that, and I think I think you'll really like it if you like action films. It's got myself, Josh Barnett, Rampage Jackson. He's doing a cameo in it. Tony Jaa, a lot of times I'm fighting guys. It's hard to find guys who are bigger to fight with. I got a guy who makes me look like Kevin Hart. And you know who Nathan Jones is. Nathan Jones, he's that big guy recently in Mad Max. And he's also the guy in Troy. He's this monster. He's like 7 foot tall. Back there. Do you ever raise your voice a little bit? Remake of Spawn. Sure, if it came up, that's the question that people ask me more than anything. I don't control that. That was a No Line Cinema thing, and you don't hear from them anymore. So I really don't know what it'll take to get that going. All right. Thank you, big guy.
Next move, how was it working with Steven Seagal?
Oh, how was it working with Steven Seagal and DMX? Those are two different questions. DMX was fine. Okay, over here. Yeah, my man, Okay. I love your question. Do I ever go buy my own movie? The only time I've done that is to give them away to someone else because I don't have. Here's something ridiculous. Most of the time, when I'm done with a movie or something, I don't have any copies of it. And I forget to even ask the company I work for to give me some. It's ridiculous. I mean, I actually had to purchased some of them before because I forgot to ask. It's weird because I mean, I swear, my attitude is like, I've been living with this movie for this long, I don't want to hear about it anymore. I'm like, it's in the rearview mirror for me, so I don't really even think about it. Which is a problem. I just try to, if I can remember, just tell somebody or my manager to put it in my contract to send a box of them over after I'm done. But yeah, that's the only time I will watch, you know, my own movie, like Never Back Down 3, like the one I just finished that 3 months ago. Well, I directed the movie. I watched this damn thing so many times because I had to edit the movie. And I have to watch it about 100 times, dude. So I know every noise in the movie. Do you think I want to watch it again? No. I mean, I just like, so when even if I'm at a screening, the movie starts, I go away.
You wake up dreaming about it.
Wow. No.
I guarantee you directed, you wake up in the middle of the night and go, oh my God, you never stop thinking about anything but that.
Well, I mean, when you're close, when you're directing the movie, you're thinking about, this may be very inside, but you're thinking about the shot list and what you have to do the next day. And it's hard to sleep because you got so much.
You're thinking of stage blocking, light blocking.
Everything. People are coming up to you say, do you want the red cup with the blue trim or the blue cup with the red trim? And it's like, you got to do too many things at one time.
I'm a stage director. I know what you're going through.
Well, yeah, what editing is far more of that. Yeah.
That's the fun part, though.
For you.
What was the concept behind it?
The concept behind Black Dynamite was, I was in China going to set to do this movie I was doing with, I'm not going to mention the name of the movie because that's one of those movies that I don't want y'all to know about. But I was listening to my iPad, whatever, it was like when iThings came out, the little one. Yeah, one of those things. And so I was listening to James Brown's Superbad. And I had the whole idea of the movie on my way from the hotel to the set. And then I started writing stuff down. That's where it's like when I got back to the States, I went to a costume shop and the blue outfit that I wear, I rented a costume, put it together with the afro and everything, and I took pictures in that costume. And that is the very same costume that I finished the movie in. So it started there, I got pictures, then shot something and got the money based off of it. And then actually, you know, in the movie, I had an idea to go, okay, I'm gonna change into the outfit that this whole thing started with. But in the end of the movie, like I parachute down and I have something in my backpack, and that's just an outfit. and I changed, I go break it to the White House and change into that outfit because I wanted to end the movie in that outfit. But you know, it all came out of my head, and you know, me and a buddy of mine, you know, kind of wrote it together. And mind you, I've never been high a day of my life. Oh yeah, a guy I think is one of the best. I think he's the best out there as far as on-screen martial arts. Is Donnie Yen. Donnie Yen always seems to step up his game. He's just, you know, because he's not only a performer, he's a director, he's a perfectionist, and a hell of a martial artist. So yeah, I would definitely like to work with that guy. Okay, there's more people haven't heard. What's that? Oh, did you just walk in? Yeah, you know, Tony Jobs is amazing. Physically, he's the baddest dude out there. Back there.
Which do you enjoy more? Like live action, like acting like Black Dynamite, or voice acting like over the cartoon, like Black Dynamite?
You said, what do I enjoy more, live acting,
or
cartoon?
Or like live acting, like when you did the like actual Black Dynamite movie, or when you voice acted over in the...
No. Hands down, the live action. I almost did not like doing the voice acting over the, you know. It's like, I really have no, all I'm doing is limiting my voice. I can't really, I mean, I was one of the writers on the thing, but it's kind of out of my control.
Yeah, I've admired the stage presence ever since Universal Soldier. Being a martial arts expert as well and whatnot, what kind of workouts do you have and do you think are available to fans who want to try to probably, you know, get on the program that you, as an actor, say the position that you're in?
Well, realize my workout things have nothing to do with acting. So that's a completely separate thing. I do plan on this winter putting down content for my nutrition, weight control, and exercise type stuff. Yeah, and working out, and also martial arts type stuff, and starting with a self-defense, like a streetwise self-defense type of course. Yeah. Okay, I didn't hear the corner. You. I don't know. I mean, I'd have to look at the script, and I don't know. I mean, I didn't hear about that. We were supposed to do a Mortal Kombat thing. That's what we were doing. That's why we had done Rebirth and Legacy. Because that was prepping what we were supposed to be heading toward, which was the movie. But again, it depends. It completely depends on the script. You know. I prefer movies than television right now. Well, what inspired me to pursue movies is that, before I was an actor, I was a school teacher. And so, but I was going out on acting roles in my time off as a teacher, my vacations and stuff. And so it kind of nagged at me to try the acting thing. I thought it was something that I enjoyed. But after a while, I had to make up my mind and say, okay, let me get this out of my system. I don't want to be one of those type of people who say, well, I should have, and I never tried. So I left teaching and lent my hand to acting for a year to see if I had what it took. And so far, it's worked out for me. I don't think there's a genre I haven't worked in other than porn. Yeah, Yeah, I mean, I've done comedy, drama, sci-fi. I guess I haven't done a pure horror movie, but I mean, I'm not opposed to it. What's that? Oh, me being in the next Candyman. I don't think I'd want to do that.
As your career goes on, are you finding that you like directing more than acting? Or
I like directing when it's something I'm supposed to be directing. I hate acting in a movie that the director doesn't know what he's dealing with, you know what I mean? Sometimes directing a movie feels easier, especially when I understand it, I understand the subject matter. I'm very particular. I've been studying movies for a long time. I will look at action movies and, there's some things that I go, well, yeah, I feel like I could have directed this a bit better. Because one of the things is, I think what I lend to directing is that I come from an acting background. I mean, I did theater in New York. A lot of times, action movies, the acting might suck. So a director that understands action and acting can kind of bridge the gap, Even though some of the movies I've done, you may not understand this. It's like if you look at Falcon Rising, and I'm happy that Falcon Rising gets compared to other movies that have 5 times the budget and 5 times the time to do it. Like, to get a movie that only takes 20 days to shoot to look like a major Hollywood movie, that's something that is, not that easy to do. But, unless the director understands action, economy, shooting, a lot of stuff. So I mean, only when I'm very versed in what the movie has to deliver, will I feel like, I should probably direct it.
I was wondering, how different is it to work, to go from movies like Undisputed and then go to Why Did I Get Married? Between action and comedy, especially.
Well, like Why Did I Get Married and it's not difficult for me to do the 2 things. To be honest with you, right? If you listed everything I've done from TV and films, do you know I've done more comedy than anything else? It's kind of weird, but I actually have done more. I've been the comic relief in situations more than the action guy. So it's really like, to give you an insight, every serious movie you ever see me do, once the camera is not rolling, I am a clown. It is a comedy offset. And I don't care if it's, blood and bone or whatever. Believe me, we were laughing a lot. And so, I mean, it's almost hard for me not to make a comedy out of a movie, because that's the way my brain works. And so with Black Dynamite, that's something that, I'm always thinking that way. I'm always thinking about the action and comedy. So I'm kind of in that world anyway, kind of in between those 2 worlds. So it's not very strange for me to go from, like Undisputed to Why Did I Get Married, or what's the TV show, For Better or Worse. And For Better or Worse is a bigger transition because that's sitcom. That's a kind of different, another style. It's a little bit, bigger than life. Yeah, they called me. It was basically a meeting of 3 of us. Mortal Kombat, first we did Rebirth. I'll tell you this story because I want to encourage people. We shot Rebirth. It took 2.5 days and only $7 grand to shoot that. And Warner Brothers saw that and offered us a deal to do the whole legacy. But so we got a major studio down with us off of, that little bit of an investment. And that was supposed to be leading to a movie, but a lot of things broke down.
Like say when you started when you first started off your movies and now how did did you need emotional support or like saying like you have to your father or mother saying like yeah go do that not like how did that transition from home to keep you going to
I just didn't grow up that way. I'm from originally Brooklyn and Bridgeport, Connecticut. It's most of my people who knew me, the first time they ever knew I had something to do with acting, they saw me in something. I didn't tell anybody I wanted to be an actor. I didn't know actually. So it wasn't about. I've been on my own since I was 14. So it's just, you gotta dig deep and survive. My favorite location to film, I guess that's Thailand right now. Because it's a lot to do with the people. The people are just really beautiful. They're just wonderful, hardworking people, and they're just so chill, And so, there's another movie that I'm planning on shooting there. That it's a movie I'm excited about, but I got to kind of keep you in the dark for that one.
Is that why you chose that traditional Thailand?
Yeah, it has something to do with that. Yeah, my wife and I, enjoy, that locale and that just the feeling of Thailand, Back there. Well, we were in Bangkok. We were in Shanghai and Krabi. Kabe. I don't pronounce it correctly. Yeah, but it's really beautiful. Well, my mother was a teacher. I found that I had a knack for teaching. I was, I basically kind of fell into it a little bit. I was, like I said, I was on my own since I was 14, and I became a teacher of disturbed, it was called EMD, emotionally disturbed, or special ed. Well, I wound up teaching kids who were very much like me, who were like from the inner city and product of violent environments, So I found that I could reach those type of kids really well. Did you say you were a violence conductor? I didn't know if I heard you right. Oh, okay. I've never heard the term violence conductor. That's like choreographer. You're choreographing violence. Okay, gotcha. Any advice for you? Advice for, I want to really understand what you mean. Advice for violence, okay, then concentrate on the storytelling element. Because that's, too many people, they know how to preach to the choir. All right, if you're good at that, that will take care of itself. So now get people to care about it that normally wouldn't. The thing that connects everybody is, we're all humans. And in movies, it should be about storytelling. A lot of mistakes people think, they don't care about a story, and they're like, yeah, I just want to shoot this is cool, and that's cool. And they forget to get people to care about it. Like, if the star is fighting somebody, you gotta care about the star. And what he's fighting for. So I'd say concentrate on the storytelling elements and the characters. Oh, some of my favorite action movies, I have action movies, karate movies, martial arts movies, and all kinds of stuff. I have some favorite action stars. Harrison Ford is probably number one, because Harrison Ford he's a guy who's done, he was at the pinnacle of all action movies, but he was so good that you don't consider him an action star. You just think of his movies as big, good movies. But you might think of Schwarzenegger as an action star, or Stallone as an action star. But Harrison Ford, because he's such a good actor, he transcends that. But, Raiders of the Lost Ark and Blade Runner, and these things, they were action movies, but they were so good that they kind of, are considered not just action movies, because they're just tremendous films. What's the question again? What's that? Well, yeah, if I look at things like the action movies of Harrison Ford, those that feel like they transcend the genre. My favorite action movies are the ones that are action, but they're just such great movies that you don't even call them action movies anymore. So it's a lot of hits. I'm sorry?
Is there any female actress that you have not worked with?
Female actress that I haven't worked with that I want to work with. Wow, I haven't thought of anybody. Who are you calling? Ronda Rousey? Is she an actress? What's that? Does that, yeah, see, that's limiting to some degree, but Lucy Liu and I have been in 2 of the same movies. Yeah. You knew that? You knew that? You're pregnant. Okay, okay. I got you. I'm with you. Okay. All right. But no, I have some, I'll just think of some of my favorite actresses, okay? Meryl Streep, of course, is number one. I like Sophie Okonedo. I know you don't know who that is. But yeah, and you can tell, I don't think about these things very much, I guess. Red.
What's the height between you and Black Dynamite?
It wasn't that difficult, because a lot of times I was fighting as a double. that's just the truth. Yeah. Yeah.
I can't watch it.
Yeah.
What was it like on the Dark Knight? It said the Dark Knight with Nolan and.
That was great. Christopher Nolan, I was intimidated at first because I thought, man, this guy did Memento. He did all these amazing movies. What's the magic one? What is it? Prestige or whatever. Yeah, I thought, okay, this guy is going to be like eccentric as hell, and he was just the most chill, down to earth type of dude. My first scene was that pool hall scene. I think it was no. Well, I remember when I was doing that scene, the pool hall scene. I asked him a couple questions. I said, okay, all right, we're in this pool hall. I'm with my gang, my guys. I'm the leader. And so I asked him, do you want us to feel like we've been here for a long time or just a few minutes? And he's like, I don't know. What do you think? I'm like, he said, yeah, we can try both ways. What do you want to do? I'm like, okay. And I said, secondly, all of my guys, all of my henchmen, they were all from England. They all had English accents. I said, well, I'm American and they're all English. Do you want me to speak in an English accent? And he's like, I don't know. What do you think? I'm like, dude, he says, oh, whatever you want. I'm like, okay. And at the time, I had shot my little fake trailer for Black Dynamite. And I showed it to somebody on set. And they ended up showing it to somebody else, and then the cameraman, and then Christopher Nolan. And now, we're supposed to be shooting, but everybody's goofing off the Black Dynamite thing I shot for about a half an hour. And I'm like, and it's like, wait a minute, this is like, a major movie, and everybody was so cool, and it was so relaxed that it was just like, it felt like I was over someone's house. That guy is amazing. He's just real chill too. Next time I ran into him, he had to go do jury duty. Yeah, I mean, he could have said, look, I'm like one of the most famous directors in the world. I ain't got no time for this. But he's like, no, it's okay, just sit here and do my part. Somebody I don't think I could beat, fight-wise. Well, there's some people I guess there's some people that I think it would be pretty damn hard to beat. Like Cain Velasquez. I wouldn't want to spar that. I mean, but I would, but he's something else.
How was it on Black Dynamite? How was it? How did when you were working with the director, when you saw him, how did it feel like you were working with him? And to hear about his death, how did you feel about it?
I hear like violins whenever you speak. Okay. No, how did it affect me?
Like when you were seeing him, was he? How was Keith Ledger, what was how was he Yeah, did you feel him seeing him and stuff, or how would you feel?
How would I feel? Okay, man. No, he was really a cool dude. Honestly, I mean, the first time I saw him, it was like the wind was blowing, and his hair was no. I mean, let me tell you, what has bothered me, and it's a tragedy, is people think Heath Ledger was one of those guys who took his role too serious. He was not like that at all. Heath Ledger and I were doing little parlor tricks and magic tricks, you know, between shots. He was a fun-loving dude. He was not in character all the time. A lot of times he would do a take, and he'd ask anybody, what do you think of that? And he would just play with different voice modulations and everything else. But he's just like, you see how when he walked out of the hospital room and then he stopped and used the hand sanitizer, he was just being playful. You know, he wasn't stuck in character. You know, he was not like that at all. Mind you, he had his accident. He died on the next movie, not Batman. Had nothing to do with that. And I think he made a mistake that I almost made before, and I know a lot of people have made this mistake. I know Heath Ledger, he had a problem, like, if you take sleeping pills, sometimes you get your immunity to sleeping pills gets stronger, and you take more. And then you have an injury, and you get on pain medication, and then you might make a mistake of taking your normal dose of sleeping pills. And that's enough to OD. And it seems like that might have been the combination that happened. He was on that Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, and that was shooting at weird times. And when you go from one movie to another, the sleeping patterns get thrown off. And you have an injury, you tend to think of that as separate. So, I mean, I encourage everybody, you watch that if you ever, you don't want to put the two together. But, I mean, I think it was a terrible mistake. This guy was not inhabited by dark forces or anything.
How many directors actually take into account the realistic side of the background of your MMA fighting skills? Do they actually know what it's like to be kind of, oh, cut this guy in half with your arm? You know what I mean? How many directors truly take into account the realistic side of MMA fighting and incorporate that into the movies that you work on?
Well, most directors don't know that stuff. You know, that's why I directed that stuff.
And you do give direction to them as far as that's concerned?
Well, I was the director. Yeah, so the director gives direction. So I mean, like in that particular movie, you know, I mean, yeah. But a lot of times, the director has to really trust the choreographer. And even choreographers sometimes think about, okay, this would look cool. But they don't think of choreographing with the character in mind. That's kind of a actor-director type of thing. It's interesting that when you see someone like Christopher Walken, and who might be, very, different in his expectations of things, and then Jack Nicholson might be a different kind of character, but once they are choreographed to fight, they fight like everyone else, right? Would it be interesting to see a Christopher Walken fighting style that might be really, off base, and a rough Jack Nicholson fighting style? See, a lot of choreographers don't think of the character. So myself, I think of, if I'm choreographing a fight scene, like if we're doing, like, say, Undisputed 2, well, there's character ways of fighting. My character would do something that another character wouldn't. And so you go from there, not to just think about, oh, this is cool, Headband, you go ahead. Headband, you next. Okay. No. I was Scott Atkins' boxing instructor on that movie. What's that? Scott Atkins' background came from, he was, I think it's obviously, you see the gymnastics, he became an amazing martial artist. In Undisputed, I worked with Scott on the boxing stuff. I've been in martial arts for a long time. I mean, it's not like, I don't know how, it's kind of reversed. Like Scott Atkins wasn't teaching me stuff. I mean, I've been in martial arts like before he was 5. Scott and I are great friends, but I've been doing this for a little while longer. And sorry.
With the Spawn costume, how did you feel at first? Was it a full body suit or was it a lot of makeup?
Yeah, with Spawn, there was about 8 different pieces that are glued onto my face. And then there's that bodysuit. When I'm completely in the costume, the only part of my real body that's exposed is my eyelashes. Because my actual eyeball is covered with a contact about that big. So this was real brutal. Yeah. There you go. How many times have I gotten injured on set? Almost never. I've been really lucky. Okay.
Yeah, I gotta ask, man. I mean, apart from all that, how cool was it to work with Nicki Minaj on the Good Love video?
Yeah, Your Love video. Yeah, Nicki Minaj. Yeah, it was cool actually. The video was shot about 10 minutes from my house. Came out of nowhere. I mean, it was fun.
It just worked out.
Yeah, it was just fun. I mean, it was a lot of laughs. Like I said before, I mean, I was like in that video, I was being a fool. Actually, if you ever remember that video,
way more serious than that.
I looked serious. When I was walking down between the students and I was, explaining my karate lessons.
Right.
I actually was explaining the hokey pokey. I swear on everything. I was acting like I was teaching, but I was saying, you put your one foot in, you put your left foot in, you take your left foot out. And I said the most ridiculous crap when I'm teaching. That's just me, Okay, let's get emotional.
Have you ever seen a death battle on YouTube? Would you ever be willing to do a death battle on YouTube versus Spawn versus Batman? And if you would, how quick would you be ready to go for it?
I don't have any idea what you're talking about. Evidently there is. This is not figurative. This is going on YouTube. What do you mean? What? They animated or something?
Yeah. Some of them are. Some people actually dress up in costume bag. What's his name?
So what would I do? I would not.
Like you did in your costume, like your small costume.
No.
Death battle to declare the winner.
Hells no. No, we'll not do that. I mean, the thing outside, I'm most passionate about is my family. That's like you may think I'm a tough guy or whatever, but I'm a push over to my daughters and my wife, and that's what I'm most passionate about.
As a martial artist as well as an actor, how do you feel about other fighters being actors and
going to be, I think she's probably somebody who's going to be good at anything she does as long as there's people around her being honest with her. Because, I mean, she already has something that's powerful, is her will and her strength. You know, that she has a will and a strength that a lot of people don't have, that people want to actually, you know, possess. How do I deal with them? Do you mean like watching them on TV? Well, I mean, I haven't dealt with it. I mean, I've been an acting teacher, and and part of being a good director is being somewhat of an acting teacher as well. And I've gotten pretty good performances out of people. Like, where do you see Josh Barnett in this movie? He seems like, I mean, actually, executives at Sony thought he was an actor who learned some MMA for the movie. So, I mean, he did a great job.
Who's your idol? Like your acting idol? Like somebody to like look up to?
Acting idol, like Morgan Freeman, like Harrison Ford, let's see, but my idols, I mean, I don't know if it's an idol, but like I'm a fan of Tom Hardy. Like, I think that's a bad cat. I like that guy a lot. Oh yeah, and that goes back. If there's an actor I want to work with, that's Tom Hardy.
What's the most uncomfortable scene?
Most uncomfortable scene I ever had to do? The first scene that, when I did the Mike Tyson story. The very first scene I had to do in the Mike Tyson story was the most difficult scene for me, because Mike Tyson, I had to play Mike Tyson, right? So I speak like him and behave like him. And in the first scene that I had to do, it was a scene about Customato, who was like his surrogate father and trainer. It's a scene after his death, and I'm doing an imitation of Mike Tyson's doing an imitation of Customato, and he's saying, okay, Customato, he's remembering that Customato had hated for people to eat his ice cream. So he's imitating Customato, you know, going, who ate my ice cream? Who ate my ice cream? So this is the first thing I had to do. First of all, I don't know how Customato would say this. Customato was played by George C. Scott. So I don't know how George C. Scott is going to play Customato. But in this scene, I have to imitate him. So that was crazy. Like, I had to play Mike Tyson, I had to imitate Mike Tyson, who was imitating George C. Scott, who was imitating Customato. And it was like, I had to go to George C. Scott, who was like one of the greatest actors who ever lived, and one of the most ill-tempered actors who ever lived. I had to go to his trailer and ask him, excuse me, Mr. Scott, how, I know we're not shooting this scene, but I have to do an imitation of you doing Customato. How are you going to do it? And he said, what are you talking about? I'm like, can you please do this scene how you would do it? That was like super difficult, but I don't know if you get the parameters of that, but that was the craziest thing. We only got time for, I think, 2 more. Back there. Say again? Have I ever looked back at a movie I did and regretted a scene? Oh God, yeah. I'm not telling you which one because I don't want you to see it. Because I regret it. Okay. Well. Okay, you guys want a Steven Seagal story? Okay. All right, this is the truth. And the craziest thing is, there's a movie that we might be doing together. So I'm kind of like, should I even say this? Huh?
Don't incriminate yourself.
Well,
You gotta fix it,
I mean, there's no fear there. Believe that. Okay. But you know, I mean, I'm one of the guys who I'm a little bit. I have a lot more patience with that situation. Like with Seagal or with Jean-Claude. I mean, there's something that, I mean, they kind of, something about when people do martial arts, that the audience demands more out of them. I don't know why, but like like Clint Eastwood didn't have to really be a good shot, did he? He didn't have to outshoot other marksmen. He just had to look like it in his movies. Sylvester Stallone really doesn't have that box. But for some reason, martial artists, there's a demand for them to be real, or real fighters. They don't have to be. What they have to do is make you believe they're who they are for the time of the movie. And so does Steven Seagal and Jean-Claude Van Damme. So I don't have this mandate that they have to be this lethal force walking around. And I don't judge them on that. I watch On Deadly Ground and 2 other Steven Seagal movies every time they come on because they're really damn good movies. And he was a hell of a choreographer when he did those things and what have you. You know, so I mean, I'm not on that hater thing, you know, with that, because I don't think that there's that mandate that they have to be proven fighters. You know, I don't think, you know, I have to be a proven fighter. I mean, people believe me for some reason. Maybe they think, you know, I mean, I ain't gonna say that I can't fight, but I mean, it's not something that is necessary in my line of business. And you know, I think people should kind of hold off of that when they're judging a movie guy. Okay? I got an indication that I gotta stop, so, all right. Well, I mean, other people are coming in here now, so. All right, well, thank you for your fine questions, and I had a good time.